Hello there. It is Wednesday, December 9th, 2015, and it is time for some comic book reviews. Today, starting with Marvel and starting with Secret Wars, issue number 8 of 9. Issue 9, of course, in true Marvel fashion, has been delayed another few weeks. I'm not exactly sure until when. Escapes me right now. But we have issue number 8, which used to be issue number 7 until issue 7 got split into 7 and 8. And at issue 7, we had kind of the big battle beginning between Doom's forces and everyone else. And it seemed to get pretty big, like maybe it couldn't get any bigger. But this issue just continues to escalate things. And it doesn't really do much otherwise. It really is just issue 7.5 in that way. It's cool to watch things happen and watch things get bigger and bigger. So we have the Reeds and Peter Quill Star-Lord still flying towards Doom's castle so that the Mr. Fantastics can, be with Doom and fight Doom for the fate of the universe. And then we have Ben Grimm, who was the shield keeping all of the Doom realm safe from everything outside the Doom realm, who wakes up and decides that he, too, is going to go after Doom. And it's just fun watching a giant The Thing kind of smash everything in his way, including many Hulks. Before he runs into a Galactus being piloted by Franklin Richards. So we have a kind of a kaiju battle between giant Ben Grimm and Galactus, as well as, like I said, the Reeds going after Doctor Doom, and even more things that happen. Peter Quill goes against Black Rose and summons another member of the Guardians that has been kind of out of service for the entirety of Secret Wars. Black Swan, not Black Rose. And what else is a battle that happens here? Well, that's about it. Oh, also we get Doom versus Thanos, which should, it's cool. Two kind of evil god figures going at it. As well. So yeah, things just managed to escalate, and that's about it. Not a lot of character development, although we see some of what's definitely going to happen in the last issue, some kind of seeds planted for how this is all going to end. That really does set up a very classic, the Fantastic Four versus Doctor Doom. That involves both Reed Richards, Ultimate Reed Richards, Doctor Doom, Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, and also their children, Franklin and Valencia, who believe to be Doom's children, but maybe they're still Reeds. We're not sure how much has changed, but definitely setting up that as the major conflict, kind of the ultimate conflict to be resolved in Secret Wars. Again, it's hard to say whether I like this or not, because it is half a book, literally. I mean, not literally, but, it was half a book that was just kind of extended and made bigger. But it's exciting. It's things ramping up towards the very end, approaching that final climax. So, that is Secret Wars number 8. Number 9 coming, who knows when. Next up, we have All New, All Different Hawkeye, or just All New Hawkeye, my bad. Issue number 2. The Mandarin on the cover there. Kind of nice cover, but I don't know. Not quite feeling it. Maybe if things were a bit more saturated, I'd like it a bit better. Anyway. So, last issue we began with Clint and old Clint and old Kate being captured by the Mandarin in China, and that's where we resume the story with a captured Clint and Kate as they face the Mandarin and have to explain why the Mandarin shouldn't kill them. And as this is all going on, we get flashbacks to to the present instead of 30 years in the future, where we see Clint drift away from Kate, kind of just growing a beard, beginning to look a lot like Green Arrow, in a way, with the beard. As we see him just avenging without her, and then we also catch up with what Kate has been up to in those 30 years, which involve kind of mainly becoming her own woman and ignoring Clint. That's about it. Not a lot of action otherwise. There's a big action scene in the middle, but it introduces a character, and I don't want to spoil the entire issue for you. But this issue really is about how the Hawkeyes drifted apart, and then seeing them in the future, how they're trying to work together now in order to prevent something bigger, a bigger bad from happening. And at the very end, they come up with an entirely, tangentially related mission to all that. I said last issue that I was thinking about dropping this book, but this issue was really good. Really just kind of cut to the heart, cut to the crux of this arc in a very meaningful, deep way, I feel. That made me interested in, how did these characters drift apart? These characters that are so close, this really tight mentor-student relationship. Why does this one incident with the children, create such a huge fissure between them that this future is now happening that we're seeing? And also, do things get better? Will there be a way where, how will these two stories end? Is this written in stone, or can this still be fixed? That's what this story got me interested in, so I will more excitedly pick up the third issue and then make a decision from then on whether I thought this arc was substantial enough and entertaining enough to keep me reading. But this issue was very good. It's pushing me more towards the positive side. And the last Marvel book I picked up this week is The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 4. It feels like this book has been going on longer. It's been going at a very rapid pace that continues in this book. But first thing, of course, I want to mention is this beautiful Alex Ross cover. I hope he just keeps on doing this forever because these covers are amazing. Just really, really cool stuff that I like. Yeah. I don't know. It's such a cool little cover there. I love it. So what happens? Is this really the entire... No, I'm skipping a bunch. Okay, I don't want to skip a bunch. But that's also not the best page to start on. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm going to start in the middle to explain what happens in the beginning, because the middle has a much better spread that explains what is going on. Where we have Nick Fury coordinating in basically a global assault on Zodiac, with a bunch of heroes and agents all tackling separate bases all around the world, including Spider-Man and Mockingbird, who are tasked with taking out one of the bases. Like a very, very kind of clockwork going plan. Lots of moving parts that Nick Cage is all keeping track of, and everything has to go as planned. They have to attack at all angles, get them surrounded, or Zodiac will find a way to escape and, keep on weaseling out of the law and doing evil things. So, of course, this is when the Green Goblin decides to launch an attack on Africa, exactly where Aunt May is helping Peter with his company's charity work. And so, of course, Peter goes off and decides to abandon his mission to save Aunt May and all of the poor Africans that his charity was supposed to be helping. And that is where the main conflict of the story comes in. I love this panel here where we just see Spider-Man swoop in the jet and shoot a bunch of webbing at the Goblin Knights, or Goblin Soldiers, whatever they're called, before having to emerge and fight them in person as Spider-Man. And there's some really just great moments in this fight scene. including where Spider-Man tries out his new superpower. He says in this, what does he say here? No buildings to swing from and no cover. Time to test out my new superpower. And he offers to buy the goblins out if they're mercenaries. His new superpower is being incredibly wealthy, adding him to the ranks of like Batman and Iron Man, who that is also their superpower. But it goes over a bit less well for Peter than it does for Bruce and Tony. And then there's a really great moment where Peter gets some help from the Africans, some of the African kids who have been studying up on all the Peter technology and the solar power like technology that he's bringing them, and helps Spider-Man, or gives Spider-Man an idea of how to take down the goblins very quickly and efficiently, and without heavy loss of life. It's a really fun issue. We also get to see how pissed off Nick Fury gets when Spider-Man abandons him. Mockingbird is also pretty good in this. She appears on and off after getting ejected from the spider jet and having to fly on some not quite Sam Wilson Falcon wings that Peter made her. Mockingbird even tells a joke late in this book. That's a pretty good joke. Peter gets a little jealous. And that's about it. Art is fantastic, as it has been. Incredibly comic booky, bright, saturated colors. The stuff I happen to enjoy too much, some might say. And I just love the way that the new costume looks. I like how it's kind of more angular and on the superior Spider-Man side, also with like the glowing lights, but still has those bright reds and blues, and it's still Peter under the mask, and you can still tell. And really is like the best of both worlds, of having a really powerful looking Spider-Man, but also still, friendly neighborhood. As you can see, like in panels like this one, where he's trying to dodge all these bombs. And that is it for Amazing Spider-Man. I'm continuing to enjoy this book, continuing to like just everything about it. Spider-Man, still one of the best superheroes, and one of the best books, I feel, ongoing right now. And of course Aunt May's in it, so we see some pretty sweet Peter Parker being nice to Aunt May moments as Spider-Man, because she doesn't know, and so he has to kind of balance and say, your nephew Peter told me to come, and you're like a mother to him, and I'll always save you because you deserve it, but I'm totally not Peter. So we get some good moments there. And yeah, that's about it for the Marvel books this week. Thank you for joining me. Next up, I'm reviewing DC books, including 2 Robin War tie-ins, Batman number 47, and some other stuff. But I just kind of spoiled the majority of the DC books I picked up this week. Anywho, before moving on to that one, if you choose to, I want to thank you for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like it. Subscribe if you want more of these every week. Any comments, questions, comic book recommendations, anything whatsoever, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will try and get to them. And yeah, that is it for the Marvel books this week. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you do join me for some more comic book reviews.